Day 5, the Sector 39 Permaculture Design course. We're framing each day around a principle. It's not hard and fast thing, but hopefully it helps remember, helps frame things, helps remember perhaps what happened on each day, or to tag some of the activities that we did, that we've done, and other things that we've looked at, to these principles, to help sort of create a narrative sort of spine, if you like, throughout the course. So, because it feels like sometimes we touch on so many different topics and so many different things, but we're on a direction. We're trying to go somewhere with this, and perhaps if we just even have a little bit of a recap of where we've come from. We want to make changes in the world. We want to meet our needs. And so the first ethic in permaculture is around how we meet our needs, and symbolized by the caring, nurturing mother in hands-on picture. And we understand that in how we meet our needs, that has impacts on other people around us, and it has impact on the natural world, and that it's totally legitimate to seek to meet your needs, to nurture and feed yourself and your baby, or your immediate responsibilities. But in permaculture, our journey is to explore ways in which we can meet our needs, which harmonize and enable other people to meet their needs. And we both do that in a way in which harmonizes, relates, and informs the natural world, the thing that we are all part of and what nurtures us. So the permaculture ethics is all about how we meet our needs within community and within the natural world. And the way that we achieve these ethics is by actively applying these principles. Um, the world's constantly changing, so we need to be making observations, learning how to build harmonious relationships. Because as we observe nature, we realize that nature very much runs on and is typified by mutually beneficial relationships and these interconnections. Um, Even before we know exactly what the plan is, what is it we're doing, what's our medium term, what's our long term strategy, we need to catch the store energy. We need to start accumulating the things that we're going to need to help us achieve our, longer term goals and long term goals. The energy that you're capturing, storing, might be information, it might be knowledge, it might be confidence, it might be a healthy body by good behaviors. But the real energy that's flowing into the system is that's coming from the sun. That's the new, if you like, genuinely new energy that's coming into the system. And we can team up with plants and animals, and in ways in which we can, trap those flows of energy, solar energy, or and and also we can observe and interact with the landscape to think about ways in which we can interact with surface flows of water or heavy cloudbursts of rain in a way in which also we can catch and store those useful forms of energy for the purposes of developing yields, of meeting needs. And because we're observing and working from nature, the natural flows of energy, then the yields that we're creating um, tend to be more, have the possibility of being sustainable, of something that can be an ongoing process, not just in a sort of a holding pattern. I don't like the idea of sustainability because it sounds static. Is Principle 4 told us that the world is dynamic, that everything's interconnecting with everything else in some really complex system. And if we do things right, nature accumulates, it builds diversity, it builds fertility, and it builds its ability to support more different forms of life. Um, so principle 5, our principle for today, is use and value natural resources and services. Um, we get past this sort of one-off bounty of the sort of petrochemical and sort of mineral wealth that we've dared to squander, And we've also, I think, lost patience with the natural processes. We want to get straight to a destination. So we're being reminded here to let nature take its course. You can't hurry the seasons. Um, these we stand in awe at a natural system as complex as a rainforest or a marine, a coral reef or something. Understand that it's just nature has assembled, natural processes have assembled those components together to create something that's so fantastically complex. And it's done it in its sort of its own time. So I think the first lesson is to value those components and to understand that renewable resources are those that are renewed and replaced by natural processes over reasonable periods without the need for non-renewable inputs. And my metaphor, my way of thinking about this is always just, the forest. You could walk into the wood every day and take a few sticks at a rate at which is slower than the rate at which the forest is growing and developing seasonally. So you can take your bundle of sticks forever without ever depleting the forest. It doesn't notice it. But if you harvest it too quickly and the forest system breaks down, then it's gone forever. So it's let nature take its course. There's only a certain yield that's available to us. We have to leave enough for the system itself to be able to continue. Um, in the language of business, renewable resources should be seen as income, while non-renewable resources should be thought of capital assets. So spending capital assets for to-day living is unsustainable in anyone's language. So this is the language of business. So if you sell your spade to feed yourself today, how are you going to dig your garden tomorrow? Well, okay, no dig, lots of mulching. We know the answer to that one. But joking aside, we need to know the difference between a tool, an asset, sometimes capital, and income. The raised bed is the capital, it's the asset, or the healthy soil within it is the capital, and the lettuce or the chard, whatever that you grow within it, that's your income. And if you can live in that income and return the waste back to the system again, you have a system that can carry on indefinitely. Permaculture design should aim to make the best use of renewable natural resources to manage and maintain yields, even if some use of non-renewable resources is needed in establishing the system. Okay, I think that's self-explanatory. Always trying to value every element and trying to find its highest value use. So the lowest value use for an element often is burning it for heat, especially in an inefficient burner or something like that is. Whereas a higher value use might be decomposing it to make soil. Try and find that best use. Can we decompose it to make soil and also create shade or create habitat for other beneficial elements of the system? Permaculture designers are always trying to find as many outputs for each element as they can. But let's not get caught up in our own limiting factors. We're saying, yes, we use and value natural resources and services. If I'm going to use a one-off petrochemical yield, like I'm going to rent a digger for a day or a big piece of machinery, is I need to build a system with that that's going to catch and store energy. I can't use that to maintain for maintenance. I can only use it to build new capital assets. So in some way, I'm swapping one asset for another asset. The mistake that we're constantly making is that we're running down natural capital and mineral capital, and we're confusing that for income. We're not building systems. We're growing actually throwaway linear societies, economy. So the proverb, let nature take its course, reminds us we can't hurry the natural cycle. We must wait for the time to act. Similarly, in design, we should allow our designs to evolve over time and understand that nature allows time for elements to grow together and actually can't see the final word. grow together and build effective systems. Okay, sorry, that was a little bit unprofessional there, but um, let your design present its own evolution. That's the idea you have to take away. You can't anticipate everything in advance, and you won't. So allow that the design, if you like, to grow into itself, and find certain elements of wildlife, unpredicted elements that might move in or become part of that system. Observe, interact in a small way, but allow the design to flow, and understand you can't control every part of it. That again, that's not how nature works. So just to look at our little picture behind us and think about how that might fit into our narrative. That is if I duck out of the way, our friend and sister Rose in Rwanda, who is using and valuing natural resources and services. She's grafting avocado trees. She's creating a system that can catch and store energy and create yields, and she's doing it within a school to meet the needs of the school community. The garden that she's working on is also designed to catch and store the heavy rainfall that you get in the mountains in Rwanda from time to time, and which is starting to cause erosion and damage around the buildings. And so she's using permaculture design to bring together a group of people to have a common vision, to see the potentials of trapping surface rainwater to feed plants, which will develop into systems that nourish the school, built entirely from the natural resources and services that are provided by soil, water, gravity, and the fact that water flows downhill, and we can predict that, and we can build systems that harvest it. And except for a few elements that she's brought in from the outside, including burning some petrochemical energy by going there on a taxi or a motorbike or something to get to the location. So, but that energy that she's capital of ecological capital that she's consumed allowed her to build a system that will sustain many people for a long time. So this is how this fits in within the permaculture plan: use and value natural resources and services. Okay, so much to talk about, so many different ways to value natural resources and services. That's the theme for the day. Those things we'll be looking at, and have a lovely day. Enjoy.